Miss Q. I'm your host, Ricky. And today we're talking specifically about Little Shop of Horrors opening at Grace Arts Live this Friday. And so we have a few of the actors from the show on. We have Alex Compamisi playing the lead role of Seymour Krelborn.
Yes, hello.
We have Allie Chapin, who is playing Audrey 1.
The first Audrey.
The
original.
Yes.
And then we have Chris Rydell, who's playing Mushnick.
Hello.
Daddy.
And I'm glad...
Mr. Daddy.
I'm glad that we have had you guys on before so everybody knows your background and everything, so we could skip all that and just get right into the show. And it's been, 12 years since they've done this show at this theater. All new cast, new director. I think the only person that's the same is Eileen stage managing it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I love that.
Yeah. So you guys are about to approach Tech Week. So how's the process been so far?
Everybody has, I think, shown the utmost care, passion, and dedication to this show, which I couldn't have asked more for. I think everyone's bringing their 110%, and I think everything's falling into place perfectly, honestly.
Not to mention that it's a huge show with a small cast, so every single person has a lot to do. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not an ensemble. It's everyone's a lead, including like the urchins, the three girls. They have a lot of stuff to do. They have a lot.
They have
You can't hide.
most,
You
yeah.
can't hide in this show.
No, you can't. You cannot
background.
hide in the show. You cannot hide.
Yeah.
You're out in the open.
Yes.
You're exposed.
You are exposed.
You're so exposed, and so it is a lot of work for every single person involved. Truly. So, and everyone's doing amazing.
Except Jacob Ware. He gets to sit off backstage with his book open.
He gets
I was
his nice
giving him a
little
hard
cave.
time today.
Yeah.
I know, that must
He
be
said
so
it's just
fun.
glorious.
But his plant voice,
Yes.
is so good.
Oh,
his
yeah.
little, just that the personality he brings to it is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did something today when he was like, "Feed me." I was like, "Oh my god!"
And he's putting his whole body and everything into that
Yes.
voice acting.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That's awesome.
His whole body is animated as he's doing that.
Yes.
So has there been any? It's been a pretty smooth process so far. Everybody's doing good. There's a new guy
Yes.
in the theater.
Kelvin.
This is his first show, not just with Grace Arts, but ever.
I think ever.
Came
yeah.
out of nowhere.
He was
Yeah.
he was
Didn't know who he was.
a rock star before he
Yes.
came to us.
Quite literally.
Kelvin Cruz
Still a rock star.
is his name.
Yes, I checked out.
Shout
I
out.
checked out his Facebook videos. He does some pretty interesting music.
Oh, he's a great vocalist in many ways. He does. Obviously, he's a great singer, amazing singer. But he also is like a great voice actor as well. So
And
that's
he's
really
funny.
cool.
He's
which
just
is great
natural.
for but it's great for the part that he plays because you need that.
Yes.
Talk
And
about
he's very
the
funny.
perfect show for him to be indoctrinated into Grace Arts Life,
Yeah.
where, he's just going all for it, no stops. And I think, he's even had background in doing a lot of scary horror work with like prosthetics and makeup. And
It seems to be like a hobby of his.
No,
Yeah,
he-
Freddy Krueger
Yeah.
is a passion of his.
You can tell he loves horror.
Had he
which I
ever
love
heard
that.
about that? I wish I had him on. I haven't met him yet.
He's great.
I wonder, has he seen the movie before? Did he know
Oh,
the
he's
show?
obsessed.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say,
made-
I'm sure.
He has little figurines of Audrey
he
too.
has a little Audrey
That he
too.
made.
Yeah.
Didn't he make those?
He made them. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
He sold them. Yeah.
They're really
I
cool.
looked at his Facebook too.
like, I kinda
and he
want
sold
one,
them
but-
like years ago. He was like making them and selling them. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I want one.
That's
Can you remake them?
awesome. Well, and fortunately for him, he's working with a group of pros, and I know that from experience.
Wow.
Stop it.
Well, I'm looking over there. No,
no respect. I get no respect.
No, and
tell you.
I think everybody would agree though that like, okay, well, he's paired up with Allie, so at least he knows he has that safety net, and with Alex, there's a couple scenes you guys have together, very animated scenes, very large, like big.
I think most
acting
of his
moments.
scenes probably are with Alex.
I think so. I feel like I only leave stage for your song.
Well, yeah,
and
Alex
Texas
is on the
song.
entire
Yeah.
time. So
Well, yeah. So, and you always give a lot to play off of. So that's really fun. So you guys are very safe, and I mean that in a good way. I don't mean like you guys obviously bring out,
encouraging, comfortable,
yes, welcoming,
welcoming, right?
and then there's Chris, who he's always there for the ride, and I love that. I love that this is another. Woo! Hold on, this is another show where you're kind of not necessarily stepping out of your comfort zone, but you're getting to do something different.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, it is out of your comfort zone.
It's totally out of my comfort zone.
How's the Yiddish coming?
Oh, well, depends on who you talk to. We'll just leave it at that.
I was like, I think it's great. Eileen.
Mishigas.
Eileen is an expert.
Yeah.
So she's an expert.
Yes, I'm not. Yes.
I will say
will be.
it's been a thrill working with Chris on a closer level, because I remember, I think he's actually always played my father figure.
Yeah, I think we were trying to figure that out. How many shows?
Well, there was Tom Sawyer.
Yep.
You were the drunk dad on that.
Yep. Drunk abusive dad. Yep,
Yes,
that was
yes.
Oh, lovely.
And then now, but I'd have to say, with Mushnick is the closest I feel like we've ever worked, and it's been such a fun time.
Yeah, we have not really done a lot of scenes together like we are in this, and it is fun.
I mean, same.
Yeah.
Honestly, and we've been in a lot of shows together too, but I don't think we've ever really had lines that much together, besides, obviously, Henry and...
But from the stories I heard, you guys didn't have many scenes together.
Technically, we've never been on stage. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm lost here. What are we talking
Gale.
Oh, yes, Henry. Yeah. There's a few times that I had the opportunity to be on stage with her, and I didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't take that opportunity.
So are you nervous working with him now after that catastrophe? I mean, that was a big deal.
I don't. No, I actually surprisingly no. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I have said this before. I saw you in this part. Like, obviously, as a person in theater, you always precast your show. But I was like, the one thing I'm sure of is I need Chris to be Mr. Mushnick. Like, I saw him, I was like, oh my god, like, this is Chris. It's so Chris, and it came true, and I love that.
Yeah, and I was never really familiar with the show. I mean, I'd heard about it. I knew the Rick Moranis version. I never saw it.
Really?
So I didn't really know the part. And a friend of mine, Al, we were talking, and he says, well, something about it. He goes, well, there's a part in there for you. I go, really? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, and he sent me the picture of Mushnick. He goes, hello. And I'm like, oh.
It's a spitting image.
I better go.
Now that you have a mustache, I'm
Now that
seeing it.
Yeah.
I had to grow this mustache, which I don't like for the record. It's for the show.
Yeah, I love that, though. It really just...
I think it's great.
it's great for the role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he sent me that picture, I'm like, okay, I better go at least watch it. So I did.
It's a unique show, and I love telling people about it because they're like, it's about a man-eating plant. So go ahead and describe for our listeners who maybe don't know Little Shop, explain what the storyline is, basically.
Yeah, so...
No spoilers.
No spoilers. It centers around Seymour Krelborn. He's a very meek botanist, and he works at a flower shop along with Mr. Mushnick and his crush, Audrey. Things kind of get a little crazy, a little awry. There's some hijinks that go on when he finds this mysterious plant that kind of just appeared out of nowhere. And then he kind of figures out he's kind of bitten off a little bit more than he can chew.
No pun intended.
Yes.
Yes.
Well said.
Oh, man, that's great. Yeah, and then you find out that the plant eats not plant food, but
Yes, he has
blood.
an insatiable appetite for blood.
Don't feed the plant.
The plant. I mean, who doesn't want the opportunity to work with some big puppet and
Right.
like having a duet with the puppet? Not a lot of people can say that.
It is so cool watching.
Have you guys seen the big one? The big
Not yet.
Audrey?
Have
I haven't
you?
had the
No,
pleasure to.
I've not seen it. I can't wait tomorrow.
I'm kind of scared. It's
So
kinda
who's in the
freaking me
plant?
out.
Caden.
Webb.
Caden Webb,
and he's
the
doing
man.
great.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
That's the a tough, thankless job in that show.
Oh, for sure.
Truly, I couldn't think of a better person to do this. He's enthusiastic. He's putting quite literally his whole body into this project, and he's just a pleasure to work with.
Yeah.
Absolute
Yeah.
pleasure. And he's gonna have abs after
Oh,
this because it is
definitely.
a workout.
I told him he was either going to have abs or he was going to have a crease right in his stomach where he's
Probably
pulled it over.
Probably both.
Probably both.
Yeah, but it's true though. Like trying to get an expression out of a puppet.
Yes, and he
you
does.
don't even think about that, but he does it so well. You can see. I mean, the plant doesn't even have eyes. It's just a mouth. It's just this crazy fly trap type of plant, obviously, and it doesn't have eyes, and it doesn't can't. The only thing that can happen is just it moves and opens its mouth.
He has
But-
to listen to Jake, and they have to.
he has to listen. He
Yeah.
has to listen. He has to know
Yeah.
the timing. But the way that he moves the plant is so expressive, and it's crazy. I
like
couldn't
you
do
said,
it.
they have to be so in sync, him and Jake.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. I mean, Jake is allowed to have a script back there with him, and
Yes.
read from it, which is probably a really good thing because you have to get it right. You
Yeah.
can't- there's no
Be
room
exact,
for error.
sure.
He definitely makes it easy to act off of a plant.
Yeah.
Caden, yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Well, and
definitely.
Jake, obviously.
Yeah,
Both of
actually,
them.
did you guys hear Lauren's episode? We were talking about her missed cue.
Of course, I have nightmares.
Oh my gosh! I don't think you'll miss it because it's burning
Yeah, I
in
know
your
it's
brain
burned into my
now.
brain. Many
But
things from her when she was talking about over the podcast, I are burned into my brain.
Yeah, Scott Dreyer was all like, and I'm outside the door. I'm like, I have to wait for Lauren. I'm not just going to go in there. I should have been like, this dizzy cow forgot her sweater or whatever. I don't know what I could have done.
Yeah.
But I remember Scott being like, guys, I can't really ad lib with a plants.
Right.
So I need you to be out there.
Hey, was it Sean? Sean's just back there like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Yeah,
Sean Tamburino.
well, that's not my cue line. Like,
Yeah, and then just got Scott Dreyer out there going, I don't know, Tui. I don't know. I'm like, oh, God, it's killing me.
and Marcelo's just in the plant like,
Yeah.
I'm so hot.
What's going on?
That's got to be hot in that suit.
Oh.
I
Did
can't
you
even
see
imagine.
Caden? Just in the little one, just in like the medium one, I had to bring him water and like a bunch of paper
And that's
towels.
without all the lights on the
Can
stage.
Yeah.
he wear like an ice vest or something?
gonna have
Like-
to.
Gotta. He was so sweaty.
You gotta like
Poor
treat,
guy.
you gotta treat that like the lion in Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Yeah. If he doesn't get abs from what he's doing, it's just a sauna in there.
Yeah.
He's gonna lose so much water weight.
So who else do we have in the cast? Who are the urchins? The urchins are basically for the listeners, the narrators basically, right?
Yes.
But they're like doo-wop girls narrating through song. And it's really cool. I love that aspect. So who's playing the
Let me get the full names of them.
Bailey Vesley.
Okay.
Obviously.
Bailey Vesley, Mackenzie Weeks, and Kiana Mack.
Okay.
And Kiona, she's new to us.
She's also
She's new to us. I've known her for a while. I did choir with her.
Where did she come from? Oh, she's local.
She's been here. Yeah. She went to Flagstaff for a little bit for choir. She for singing.
She
has a-
was telling me all the places she lived, so she's
Yeah.
been around a little bit. moved
Yeah,
around.
but
cool.
she's great. I'm glad that she's here with us. I'm so glad. Then we have Bailey, who is
She just
Senior,
got
yeah.
she just got off playing Peter Pan. Too.
she did play Peter Pan. She's a
Yeah.
senior in high school. She's the little one.
Go back and listen to Bailey's episode.
Yes.
And then we have Mackenzie Weeks, who used to do theater with us a long time ago, and now she's back.
And we're welcoming her back. Yes.
This is her first show in a long time, and it's so exciting to have her back. So yeah, it's really it's amazing. Yeah.
She's got a voice.
She's got a voice. They
really
all
does.
do.
Yeah, they all
It's. I mean, that's how they got here. That's the urchins have to have voices, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're working so hard.
I mean, they're the narrators of the show, so I mean, quite literally, they're in it just as much as everybody else.
Yeah, I think one of the toughest songs is "The Meek Shall Inherit."
Tell me about it.
Well, and you got Kelvin, playing. There's three of his other characters are within that one song.
Yes.
Come to think of it, I think that song is probably the hardest for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I mean, I'm not in
just
it,
for
but-
Kelvin, but the urchins have to. And well, when I did it, Tarneem was one of the urchins,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I remember her always like just looking off stage every once in a while. She'd be ad libbing. Oh yeah, you just sign here. Let me explain this contract. And she like just
Because you were changing.
because I was changing. And Jake was actually my changer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was my dresser. It was awesome. I just love that it's going to be a fresh take, 100%.
Oh, for sure.
All new actors in it and a new director.
Yes.
That's the big thing. The direction of the show is different, obviously, and I'm excited because everybody knows what each of you brings to the table. Chris, I'm the more parts you do, the more I'm like, I think you're so good that people don't know how good you are.
Oh,
And the reason,
Really nice.
just a quick side note, the reason I think that way is because I did Larry Perger's memorial, and when I was editing together all of his show clips, I went, oh my gosh, I never realized how great of an actor Larry Perger was. So I'm trying to be more aware of that. I don't want to remember that after they pass. So I'm looking at people different, and you're one of those people that I look at and I go, I think Chris is secretly one of the best actors in town.
well, thank you because I don't feel like that. But thank
We
you.
Well-
were just just bragging about you
Aw.
the other
Truly.
day. I was telling you, we were bragging about you. We're like, he's got that. He's doing great. Yeah.
The vocals, the acting,
Seriously.
the timing, it's perfect.
The songs in this are probably some of the most fun. I mean, especially Mushnick and Sons. That's
it's
going
so
to be a
fun
fun
to
number.
watch.
That's
Yeah, I love a song that goes back and forth between characters,
and
that
it's
song,
fast.
right?
It's I mean, it's not. There's no room for error in that song. I mean, it's
Truly, as someone who's just been in love with this show for just as long as I can remember, it's interesting finally being in those shoes and doing the process of the entire show, because I've never realized how fast the entire show is and how fast the songs are. It's like bus, club, another club, plane, another plane.
Do you guys have
No sleep.
No
do you ever
sleep.
do you find a moment in the show? Is there a moment where you can actually like just take a breath, that the show slows down for you? Which I would think like Suddenly Seymour might be that.
I would actually have to agree. There is a little bit that, you know what? I take that back. Yeah, Suddenly Seymour is very natural, honestly. I mean, Allie is amazing. I know that I can trust her with everything on stage. Like, if I'm freaking out, she'll give me a subtle brain message, be like, it's okay, and vice versa.
Dude, for Wimpy Kid, she literally pat me on the arm when I missed my harmony. She's like, get him next time.
Yeah, she just has, like, you could read her eyes, and she's like, that's really good.
Yeah.
That was good. You hit it.
you guys. You're comfortable with each other, and that chemistry that you have. You can definitely see that. That's going to be. fun
Thank
to watch.
you.
Yeah, actually, Carmen mentioned that about you when we spoke about how I was like, you make her sound bad. She was all like, Allie has chemistry with everybody, and I'm like, oh,
What is she
Hilarious.
saying?
Carmen.
I just love people.
you're just easy to work with, and you're there for the
Truly.
project, and you're there for the good of the show, and you
Truly.
you're
you.
not only willing to do whatever it takes, but you know what it takes, which makes you a good up and coming director as well.
Well, and it's interesting too because every director directs different, and
Yes.
and now I've gotten to do a lot of shows with Grace, with Lauren, and now this will be my second show with Jason, and they all take a different approach. They're directing, and I don't want to say one's better than the other. They're just
No,
different.
they're so
Very different.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Jason is it's a lot more. Jason knows what he wants. In Jason's perfect world,
he always says that.
He'll want to do a certain thing, but I feel that there's a little bit more collaborative. We can take a little bit more liberty,
Definitely.
which
Yeah.
I think is interesting. Like you and me will just have a conversation. Well, let's do this here, and if they don't like it, they'll tell us.
And I think a big part of that is because Jason trusts all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he casted us, but on top of that, I feel like he knows us, he trusts us, he knows what we can bring to the table and out of each other. And I think that is really where the magic happens in Little Shop, is just
Right.
like the small little moments besides the big carnivorous plant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and he expresses all the time like the nature of ourselves. Like he likes seeing how we fit into these characters.
Right. And well, what I liked, he said one of the first rehearsals, he said, I want you to do it this way, and then I want you to do it that way, and then I want you to try it another way, and then I want you to do another way until we find, so that's kind of like, oh.
But he'll go, that's the one.
Yeah, he did that to me today.
Like through each run, he's like, that's the one, keep it.
Yeah. He
Or
did
like,
that to me.
and if it's not right, he's like, okay, keep trying.
Yeah.
But he'll say, that's the one. That's the one. Never change it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, do that one just like that. And I'm like, what did I do?
I know. Right.
Someone tell me what I did because I forgot.
That's the point. You're
Right.
in it.
Yeah. I think
Yes.
No, seriously
Yes.
though, actually.
That's literally it. Because there's been twice where I've heard him make a laugh or something, and I'll go, "What did I just do?" Because I know he liked it, And
It's just
lock
being,
it in.
it's just your own interpretation,
Right.
of what it was. And he takes a little bit of like a wacky approach to everything, and he loves that. He's like, I'm weird, and I love that. He's always like, I'm just weird like that.
Yeah,
Well, he
and,
gets
and
the
you're
party shows.
like, are you sure? Okay, and then you try it, and you're like, all right,
I'm like,
that's
no,
hilarious.
it always comes together so well. And that's
Yeah.
the thing though, is like every single one of them is so different. But Jason's always like, I'm the weird one.
Well, in October, I was
October.
literally thinking about this today. That Jason's the October show because that's
Yeah.
that's the Halloween season, and it's like
Always something a little
it's a little
funky.
quirky, like Young Frankenstein or this less
Spelling
Platinum,
bee.
Spelling
yeah.
Bee. They're all
Yeah.
these little quirky shows, and I love it. I love it.
They're
Yeah,
truly
it's
little
great.
gems.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's so great. It's such a blessing.
Yep.
Each and every one of them. I mean, every show I do is a blessing, but
But it is
Those
cool
little
how
quirky ones.
different everybody is.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure. It's so fun.
But Grace picks the shows though. So I mean, I know obviously they have inputs, but like,
Well, and she knows, like, she, oh, this person is great to direct this one. This person's great to direct
Yes.
this, And, like, she's directed Little Shop before, but it's a great pass down to Jason because Jason is, he likes to do things weird, and it's a weird show,
It's a very adaptable show.
Yeah, and he gets to do his own little thing, and it's the October
and it's like
quirky
it's one of those shows where it's like the cheesier the better.
Oh, for
Yes.
sure. I mean, go watch the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love that it takes place in the 50s during that, era and just the style and the feel and the vibe of that setting and stuff. So, Allie, I want to talk about everybody's favorite part or the part that they're excited most to show the audience. What are you most excited for the audience to see?
I think Suddenly Seymour is just a fan favorite, and it's just a sweet thing in general in life. I think it's one of those. I was telling Alex the other day. It's like one of those, like the commercials where it's like the biggest 80s songs of the century, and it's like all those like famous songs like like
play
I feel
at 3 a.m.
like the giant like Celine Dion like love songs, like that's what Suddenly Seymour is to me. Like it's one of those like all known songs to me that like it's just like you can't skip it. That's definitely one of my favorites, and The Plant obviously, and You. But for me to show Somewhere That's Green, I get emotional every single time I sing it. I'm almost in tears every single time I sing it because it means so much to me. And singing that song it has such a special place in my heart. And so showing that to the audience and having the audience experience that.
Yeah, because something like that, like your interpretation, it means a lot to you, and the audience. That's exactly the kind of number that the audience goes, "Oh my gosh, this reminds me of this or this."
I saw this. Carmen Domek sent me this video. It's the Tiny Desk concert of one of the most recent casts of
Little Shop.
Shop, and Alan Menken was there, and he was talking about how Somewhere That's Green and the song Part of Your World.
Yes.
It's like the Somewhere That's Green is the part of your world. Like it's the searching and the dreaming song.
You could probably
And
switch the lyrics over the tracks, and it sounds the same.
He wrote both of them, So
Yeah.
like it's like a. He had them in mind. Like
They actually used to call it Somewhere That's Wet.
Yes, Somewhere That's Wet. Yes, exactly.
Part of your world. And
Somewhere That's Wet, because it's the part of your world. Somewhere That's Green. They're like the same kind of.
It's quite
feeling.
literally the same song.
Yes, no, actually, but
Yeah.
it's so special to me, and I sing it all the time because I have a lot of things, and I've sang it just a lot, just in life and in my house because I have a lot of items from.
like thingamabobs. You got 20.
From Better Homes.
What do you call it?
No, it literally has the tag Better Homes and Gardens. So I'm always like Better Homes and Gardens magazine. You know what I mean? And so like I just like go from there, and then I sing the rest of the song. But so I sing the song all the time anyways because I have the tag in my house. But it really, and I just like think about my life, and I think about like Angelo and like he's my little Seymour and stuff. And it's just a really special song to me. So I'm really excited to share that. And I love like having my little moment, like looking at the three girls, because they're the only other women in the show too,
Right.
So I love like looking at them, and I'm like,
And it's not often that. Do they? Yeah, they interact with the main character.
quite a
oh
bit.
yeah,
Quite a
for
bit,
sure,
yeah.
yeah. I feel that they care a lot about Audrey. Like we're friends. You know what
yeah.
I mean, like we're all
They look after you.
They look after
the
me.
first scene where the dentist comes on and they say,
they're ready to fight.
They're ready to throw
They're ready to
down.
brawl.
They're like,
But-
oh, you're the guy.
Hold my earrings.
But
Yeah.
I love during that song, like looking over at them and being like trying to relate, because like they're also like, I feel like they also are dreamers too, and we're all in Skid Row, and
They all want to get out of Skid Row.
they probably have similar
Aspirations.
as women aspirations and stuff.
Well, and I didn't know any of that backstory that you just said about Summer Green and why it meant to you, but just sitting off to the side watching you do that song, I can tell that. I mean, even in the beginning, because sometimes in the rehearsals in the beginning, you're kind of not, you're getting your way in, you're learning your way into it, and you're not really putting your whole heart into it. But I noticed that song was the first one that I noticed where you could see that meant something to you, and it made me tear down a little.
And the audience is going to feel
Yeah,
that.
they're gonna feel that.
yeah.
I was gonna say it definitely shows, Allie. It really just hits a certain spot when you sing that song, so you can tell. I'd have to say my favorite part. I'll try not to be cliche and say the whole thing,
I know.
but
Well, that's I would accept that from you because I know how bad you want. I know what this part means to you.
truly, I can't articulate it enough how much this role has meant to me. I think it was one of the second shows that I've seen in my whole musical theater career, and I fell in love with it. I saw Seymour, and I was like, that's kind of me. And then of course I saw when Scott Dreyer did Seymour when they did it the last time here about 10 or so years ago, and that just blew me away. So it's always been a part of my life. I've always listened to it, and in my career with Grace Arts Live and even beyond that, I have had the amazing opportunities to play the more comedic roles, the kind of sidekick character like the LeFous or, just stuff like that.
Igor.
Yeah, Igor. And those are a blast. Like, I
yeah.
have the time of my life. But, it's really nice and fulfilling to kind of explore the other aspects of your acting self.
Well, you're a character actor.
Yes.
Just like me, we're not typically going to get the male ballads in the
Correct,
shows,
exactly.
but we always get the fun parts. But this is an example of every once in a while there's a lead role that's written for a character actor.
Yes, and that's why I've always been drawn to
Elf,
Seymour.
Like Elf, yeah.
Exactly. And I love that you brought up Alan Menken and just the kind of influence that Little Shop has had, not just touching the hearts of quite literally almost everybody that has seen it or heard of it. It's a cult classic. I either tell people like, oh, have you heard of Little Shop? They light up with excitement, or they've just never seen it before. It is such a precursor show to big things like even Disney. When they were writing the music, they based it off of the original movie, I think in like the 50s actually.
Yeah, the black and white one.
Mm-hmm. And that movie was actually filmed and all wrapped up. They did it in like 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
Because it was supposed to be like a spoof film. It kind of like not. It was supposed to be like the opening. Like say if a double feature was, you were going to a double feature, they would show Little Shop of Horrors and then the main feature. And so I think the director was like, watch, I can make this movie. Like, give me all this set. Like they reused the sets. They reused everything from like a previous film. They finished wrapping up everything in like 2 or 3 days. And so Alan Menken took that and essentially wrote the music. Now we have Little Shop the musical. But it was then that they, went on to do work for Disney with Little Mermaid, and you could definitely see obviously the influences that it had. So not only that, but it's just incredible. And like you said, the shows that they don't often have the character actor be the leading role.
We get lucky sometimes.
We get lucky sometimes. And Seymour goes through the whole box, Crayola box of emotions. And I'm so excited to kind of dive into that and just like the meat of it. It's a lot of fun. And then I'd have to say that my actual favorite part is actually right before intermission. I think that is the
Oh yeah, when you're
coolest part.
oh, don't even no spoilers.
The urchins.
The urchins are in it, but I won't.
It's when
Yeah.
it's one of the
Like literally right before.
It's right before intermission.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's the ending of Act 1.
I get it.
And the audience really finds out the dire situations that Seymour
intensity.
has put himself in. And just coupled with the music and the 3 doo-wop girls, the urchins, it's just
it's a dark comedy. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
very campy.
So good.
Yeah, I love it. Chris, what do you think?
Well, musically, I mean, obviously, our big numbers, Mushnick and Son. That I'm really excited about being able to do that song. That's going to be a lot of fun.
That's going to be a crowd favorite, I can tell.
Yeah, I hope so. It's definitely fun. And then my second, I'll just say without ruining anything, my second to last scene that we have a long little,
Yes,
and it's more
back
of an
and forth.
acting thing as opposed to a song. But I think that's something that I'm going to enjoy doing.
Tell us what you're wearing, Alex.
Oh, so this is my little skinned Audrey too. No. I beat him.
I thought it was Christmassy at first.
I won.
I won. No, so yeah, I thought I'd be a little festive for the part. I actually bought this from a local vendor here at Lake Havasu. but-
Nice. Keep it local.
Yeah. I'm all about supporting local artists, as I am one myself. So yeah, this was quite the pretty penny, but totally worth it. I saw it and I was in love with it, and I was like, what better way to break it out?
That's
Like,
that's
this is
perfect. That's meant to be. That's incredible. So this show's been done a couple times actually in town. I know Grace did it once about 12 years ago, and then it was done in the 90s by Drury Lane, London Bridge Convention Center. And if you've seen the movie, you know that Bill Murray is in it
Yes.
as a patient who just loves pain, and he's there for just you know.
So funny.
And it's such a funny part. So when they did it at Drury Lane, they added that part in, and my dad played.
No
Oh,
way.
that's
No
cool.
way.
I never got
love
to see it,
that.
but people were like that he was shaking the whole stage, like he was just rocking the chair. You know how intense he was.
yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. I thought that was pretty cool, but obviously not necessary to the show. But that dentist scene with you is so fun, and you have some quick wording in that song.
That's actually one of my favorite songs, actually.
Yeah. Are you? What's is it a prop gun? Oh,
Yes.
I hope.
Yes.
No, it's real, Ricky.
We're gonna
What do you
really
Ours was.
Are you serious?
Ours looks like a pimp's.
I'm very glad we're using it.
It's like white with like zebra
Tell
stripes.
me Alex holds it to the side.
It was a surprise.
When he whips it out, he literally goes, and I go, I'm good.
that is one of my favorite
It's
parts.
so funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's one of the parts where I have yet to not laugh. Yeah,
Oh man, that's so,
it's
cool.
so funny.
I think that's another thing that this show tests is your acting chops and not breaking character with people. That's
Hard.
You know what? At least I know Jake is tough for a lot of people to keep a straight face sometimes because his reactions are priceless and everything. But that's a good thing though, because he's not on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just his voice, so you're not because he makes those faces at you sometimes on stage where you're like, dude, don't. I'm trying to work.
Cut it out.
Yeah. But Jake also understands that just doing the voice, he is the type of actor that knows he has to go even bigger than he already normally does. Because you're counting on just that. Just like
because you don't see the face. It's all his
Just
voice.
like Caden's putting, like, accentuating all of his movements for the plant puppet, Jake's doing the same thing with his vocals, I'm sure. I'm excited to see him do it. And actually, I'd like to get some, like, backstage footage of him recording.
That
and
would be
stuff.
good.
sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'll be fun. Yes, you open this Friday. It's exciting. I'm sure ticket sales are going well. So if you haven't, go and get your tickets. www.graceartslive.com. Call the box office at 928-505-ARTS.
Ooh,
Love that.
plug. Did you know that?
Okay, memorize.
Yeah.
And
But
last
anyway,
time I checked, there's pretty good seats open for open nights.
Yes.
Nights still, which
Yeah.
is odd. So get your tickets.
you guys have some big shoes to fill. I mean, with your predecessor. So Allie, you're stepping in Lauren's shoes. And you always bring it. And you always do a great interpretation of. Have you played anything that she's done before?
Yes. And I think it's fitting. And I love it. I love it so much.
What was the part before?
So I have played before that Lauren has also played and Grace. I've played some parts that Grace has
wow.
played too. The parts that we've all played before is the witch from Into the Woods.
Oh.
Yes. Which is very fitting and I love that. And I love that about the three of us. But
So are you nervous or just more excited?
I'm
and
excited.
yeah.
I am nervous because I mean Lauren's a huge idol
She's
of mine,
judgy, yeah.
So. Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. No, she's a director, so she just can't help but like.
That was crazy.
We'll be right back.
I mean, obviously, I'm nervous, but I'm excited, and it's just like it's like honorable for me. But I've played the witch, which Lauren and Grace have also both played. I played Nancy, which Lauren has played before.
Oh yes.
Yes, and then also well, not yet, but coming up, I'm going to be playing Lily St. Regis that
Yes.
Lauren has played before.
That's right.
And so it's just exciting, and I feel like it's like fitting because like I don't know. It's just it makes me happy that like it's like a pattern.
Awesome.
For
Well,
us.
she's like a sister to you, so
Yeah.
there's a connection there already.
Definitely.
So, and she's sitting there cheering you on.
Yeah.
And speaking of cheering on, I know Scott Dreyer would just be so happy for you.
Yes. Talk about just the sweetest man ever. I first met Scott Dreyer at the show at Little Shop, and I think one of the many performances that I saw, I think I must have went up to him and introduced myself, and I think we just became really fast friends. And he's a superstar, truly. I think I was even so obsessed I did a fan art for him. I've been trying to find that picture, but there's a picture of us, and he has my fan art of Little Shop. I like did it all in colored pencils, which is really weird because I don't do colored pencils. But yeah, it was literally the movie poster on a huge poster that I drew for him, gave it to him and everything. Come to find out, though, I actually knew Scott Dreyer way before that in a way, because I found out that he actually voiced Knuckles the Echidna in the Sonic the Hedgehog games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you not know that? Yeah.
I knew
It's
that.
incredible. It was so cool. I was like, you've been a part of my childhood.
Yeah, and he had
that-
a funny little bit part in the show The Rookie with Nathan Fillion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been on TV.
Like The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, he was on.
He
I'm
has.
still
She's still stuck on Sonic the Hedgehog over there.
It's truly incredible. I was like, I almost didn't believe him, but then he
Not
did
know
the
that.
voice in front of me, and I was like,
in front of you.
Yeah.
like Sonic.
It's like usually it's $200, but
Well, for you, I'll make an exception.
they just did a convention recently. I think he advertised a convention. Him and some of the other voice actors were going. I'm like, man, that's so cool.
He's been traveling all over at these conventions, and he's had fans from all over the world just come to him and see how amazing he is, and it's truly incrable.
Yeah, and he's a recording artist too.
Yes.
He's released a couple of CDs.
no pressure.
I think his most recent one was like all Doris Day
Yeah,
covers
he
and
knew
stuff.
Doris.
But the one that was out when we were doing the show together was one of his first CDs. He did Suddenly Seymour with Katie Seagal.
Oh my gosh, that is flipping cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I am so excited to see your version because
Thank you, Ricky.
I mean, you bring it. It's like Leaf Coneyberry. It was just such a great performance to watch. So
Not to inflate my head too much, but yeah, I am very proud of what I'm bringing to the table. Obviously, I have, my research that I've done on my own time to reference, and I have Scott to kind of reference as well. But I just with any roles, I always like to kind of make it my own and throw myself in. So I'm very excited for people to see this interpretation.
every time you would mention something that you added in spelling bee, it was just genius. The finger puppets and everything.
I just like to be extra and add a little bit more dimension if I can.
And with this show, you're surrounded by other actors and a director who not only lets you but adds to that fire as well.
I was like, they're giving me too much power here, but I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to do pretty much what I want to do. And then if Jason says something, then yeah, he'll change it. It's amazing.
And Chris Rod Lockman played the part.
Well, it's funny you just said about comparisons. I usually like to watch the previous productions that Grace has done of a show when I do it. But this time I made a conscious choice to not watch it because
I love that.
It's kind of hard to not mimic, somebody when you watch it, even if it's unintentional. And I just thought, you know what, I don't want to copy somebody like that. I want to try to bring my own. So I didn't watch it. So I didn't until you just said off camera a little while ago that I didn't know who did it before.
Yeah.
In fact, I said, who did it before?
Yeah.
And I'm like, now you told me Rod Lockman. I'm like, crap.
Dude, there was one show, I forget what the show was, but it was a part that Rod had done before. And somebody was all like, do you want to watch his performance? You should watch his performance. And I said, absolutely not. Because in my opinion,
that.
Rod is
Yeah.
a genius on stage, and I'm like, that's going to be discouraging, not inspiring.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Well, I'm glad I didn't watch it now that I know.
well, yeah, but I agree with you though. Sometimes I regret watching some YouTube, just because I'm like, oh gosh, now I'm afraid that I'm not being original enough.
Well, and then especially when you like something and then the director has a different idea and you have it in your head,
yes.
that's the way you wanted to do it because that's how you saw it and you
Yeah,
thought it was funny.
I can't let that go.
Yeah.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, that's hard.
Gosh, so did you come in knowing how you wanted to play the character then?
Pretty much, and I
You do your homework. Every time you get cast in a role, you always do your homework.
yeah, and I mean I struggled with the accent, which way I was going to do the accent, if it was going to be more Jewish, more. And then I looked at some different versions and I did some reading on his part, and they said he actually usually is played by somebody with with a middle class New York
Bronx type of
accent, but with a inflection of it. So I'm still playing with
little
that
hint
a little
of
bit.
Yiddish.
Yeah, a little
Yes.
hint of Yiddish. So I'm playing with that still a little bit. But yeah.
That's going to wrap it up. But thank you so much for coming on and talking about the show. I think it's going to be great. Get your tickets if you haven't seen this show ever. If you have seen it a million times, come see it again. Thank you for coming on. I've said that a million times.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. This has been fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And until next time, remember, there is no excuse for a missed or late cue. Until next time. And just like that, we're at the end of another fun-filled episode of The Missed Cue. We hope you loved the conversation as much as we did. Feel free to share your thoughts, ask questions, or simply say hi. We can't wait to hear from you.
Don't forget you can always catch up on previous episodes and keep up with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we'd love for you to be a part of the Missed Q community.
A big thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. Your support means the world to us. We'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, rate, and leave us a review.
Until we meet again, remember, there's no excuse for a missed or late cue.